In this video, we're going to show you how to build a holiday-themed table riser using crown molding from Osborne. If you're interested in any of the parts used in this video, be sure to check out the links below. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. For this project, we're using the detailed crown molding from Osborne part 892244 on our website. This molding is made out of solid beechwood and is available in 96, 93, and 46 inch lengths. To get started, I'll cut a 45-degree bevel on one end of the molding stick and measure out 36 inches for my next cut. The overall dimensions for this project at the base are going to be 36 inches by 12 inches just to keep everything uniform. If you're interested in creating something similar, you can reference the cut list in the description below. When cutting crown molding, be sure to keep the flat side in contact with the miter table and the miter fence at all times. Crown molding profiles can have various angles that can cause the saw to jump or skip, so be sure to keep a firm grasp on the board at all times and use clamps when available. Now that we have our molding pieces cut to length, we can get a better idea of the overall design of the table riser. Next, we need to create the interior frame that will add some support to the piece and give us a surface to install our floating top onto. The 1x2 framing will install onto the back of the crown molding and have a matching 45-degree miter that will allow for an easier glue up of both pieces. Once our interior framing is cut, we can make sure the miters line up properly before installing onto the back of each piece of crown molding. I'm installing the 1x2 framing flush with the angle on the back side of the crown molding. This will give us about a 1/2 inch groove that will accept the floating top that we're going to be installing later. To attach these two pieces, I'll use some wood glue and a brad nailer, making sure that the miters line up properly on each piece to avoid any issues during our final glue up. Once the framing is attached, we can add some wood glue to each corner and use a small brad nail just to keep everything clamped together while it dries. It's important to make sure that all of your miter and bevel cuts line up during this step to avoid any issues when installing your floating top later on. The next thing I want to add to this project is some nylon table levelers from Osborne. To do this, we'll use a threaded insert as well as some mounting blocks that I've cut out of some scrap wood. If you're interested in learning more about the table levelers or the threaded inserts from Osborne, you can check out the links below. I'll be attaching these mounting blocks to the 1x2 frame, so I'll mark out the location to avoid any interference with the threaded inserts. Then I can mark out the location of the threaded inserts on my mounting block and take them to the drill press to drill a pilot hole that is just slightly smaller than my threaded insert. For Osborne's threaded insert, you'll need to use a 1/2 inch drill bit or Forstner bit to drill the pilot hole. This is just smaller than the diameter of the insert and will avoid any cracking during the installation process. Before installing the threaded insert into the mounting block, I'll secure the blocks to the framing using some wood screws, making sure to avoid the crown molding. To install the threaded insert, start it by hand and then use a proper sized Allen key to slowly countersink the insert into the wood. Depending on the wood species, you may need to loosen the insert periodically while installing to avoid cracking or splitting the wood. Once the insert is installed, we can test the fit of our table leveler and then repeat the process for the other 3 threaded inserts. Next, we need to take some measurements for the removable top. Since we're going to be wrapping this in fabric, I'm going to leave an 1/8 inch off each side just to allow for some extra room. For this top, we're using a piece of 3/4 inch plywood as the base. This will have a slight reveal between the top of the crown molding and the top of the table riser, but if you wish to have something more recessed, you can use a thinner plywood for your top. We're going to be wrapping our top in a Thanksgiving themed fabric, but since they are removable, you could make several different tops depending on the occasion or time of year. First, I'll place the plywood on the back side of the fabric and cut off any excess that isn't needed. To attach the plywood to the fabric, we'll be using this quick set spray adhesive. You can spray a coat on both the fabric and the plywood and let it sit for 1 minute before attaching the two. If you're interested in a more in-depth tutorial on this process, you can check out the video above or in the description for more info. Once the fabric is installed, we can test the fit of our tabletop once again and then apply the finish of your choice. Thanks for joining me for this episode. If you're interested in learning more about the products used in this build, be sure to check out the links below. As always, be sure to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment, and we'll see you next time in the Builder Studio.